Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another comics. Well, technically, we're from the future. We're from the multiverse of comics. At the end of the day, we are recording this early because we have a little bit of stuff going on that may hold me busy for a little while. But don't worry, we're gonna still continue to give you as much as we can. I'm Technique, aka Frank, aka Technique, I should say, and Matt.
Hello, Matt, aka Nighthawk Plays. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this in the future. Yeah. I like how you called it the multiverse. It's perfect. Yeah. Perfect some of the things that we're gonna get into here today. But we didn't want to leave you people out there straggling and wanting more for us. So today we got a fun little episode for you, whether you're watching this or listening to this on podcast. We're gonna deep dive into the Black Widow film. You know, we've recently talked about Loki and a bunch of other things, but this right here is our diving headfirst into the Black Widow film. Frank, kind of just talked about it maybe a couple of minutes ago on something we just did, but what now that we could talk openly about it, outside of Florence Pugh, what did you think?
It was awesome. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was a really great, fun movie. It was a good ride. The cast was amazing across the board. I think everyone did fantastic. The locations were nice. The actions was wow. They got right into it really fast. The opening, we got a little sweet little juncture between Natasha and Yelena as young kids. I think they're about probably like 5 or 6 to 10 years apart. And you know, just developing that little relationship with them, and then showing their mom and showing their dad when he comes in, who's David Harbour and Rachel Weisz.
Yep.
And we get right into it. You know, everybody's a damn agent. You're an agent. You're an agent. You're an agent. You know, everybody's an agent for Russia. And they had a mission. They were there for, I believe, 3 years, and they were acting as a family. But you know, to kids, when you don't have parents, the closest things become your parents, and they're like little cats and dogs. You know, you bring in a puppy from the outside, you rescue them, you're their parents at the end of the day, and that's what they felt. And like the love that you see, I think that was really important, established early on. The love that Natasha and Yelena have for their parents was real. It wasn't,
and for each other.
Fake. They experienced so much in 3 years. It's kind of like a childhood that you would experience throughout your whole childhood life.
Yeah.
With them.
And it was interesting, right? Because of their age differences. You saw the looks that the parents were giving Natasha. Natasha was at the age that she knew, and she was a little trained. You saw it. Yelena, though, she had no idea. Like that's where the age difference and the gap comes in too. Like that was her family, and you really felt that a little later on in the film when they were having a couple of discussions. And but yeah, like you said, the movie, you had a brief reprisal of about maybe 2 to 3 minutes, but then it just went into it. That whole beginning scene with them escaping and the whole 9 yards. It was wild. It was a fun ride. I enjoyed the film. I really, really enjoyed the film. Yeah. The story, the CGI that was there, the graphic, it was a fun ride. And you know, waiting 2 years to get back into this, a Marvel movie, it was well worth the wait.
Yeah, it was great. And you know, David Harbour playing Alexei, who's a Red Guardian, who's one of the first super soldiers. It was very interesting seeing his character come to life, and seeing David Harbour outside of Stranger Things, because that's what people always like bring him back to. He did a fantastic job. Like I think he did a great job. He had the comedic. You really don't see his comedic side as much. You could just tell he's a funny guy, like just by looking at him. He did a very, very good job. You could tell he had fun, and I think that's the biggest thing to take back is you can tell that all these actors and actresses had fun with their roles. Was it?
Bless you.
Allergies. Thanks. And you know, Florence Pugh, amazing job. 25-year-old actor she's a British actor at that. Just nailed her role. And of course, Scarlett Johansson did a fantastic job, as she always does. She is Black Widow to me. And Rachel Weisz did, I mean, her Melina was great.
Yeah.
Like, my gosh, dude. Like the immediate staff, and I mean, even Mason, her friend, that kept
Oh
bringing her
yeah,
stuff.
he was really
great.
good.
O'Teef, I think his name is Fabino. Fabino. I don't know. I'll screw up his name, so I don't want to mess it up. But we'll just call him OT. It's kind of what he goes by. He was awesome. I loved this character at first glance when they had him. You could tell that relationship between him and Natasha were kind of like a business only thing, but they were like really secret best friends. You know, it was just really cool. Her first friend.
Yeah.
We also got to see Taskmaster come
Oh,
into play.
man.
So that was interesting and fun.
Yeah,
it was interesting and fun. The opening scene was like, whoa, man. Like, damn, they weren't wasting no time. Like,
nope.
You know, so we also get references of why her hair was blonde.
Yeah.
You know, at first it was like, okay, because she's on the run, she's dyeing her hair. But I think it was like probably like almost an ode to her sister at the end of the day as well. Kind of something like change it up, because her sister was like, you always look like this, and you always do this, you know. So it's just like, I guess she's just trying to change it up. And it was just so many great interactions and exchanges. Easter Egg City.
It was Easter Egg City, not only for what we knew was going to happen in the future. I mean, I liked what was his name? Her friend Mason, you said?
Mason, yeah.
I liked Mason's character because it also kind of gives you the what was happening after Civil War and how Steve and Natasha and all these people are trying to get around. You are using middlemen to get you things. You know, he even said at one point, you know, Thunderbolt Ross, you know, you're definitely his radar, and it's making things harder for me. Using that there as a linchpin to try to get her out at the end was interesting. How you have obviously the whole story behind and seeing it more out there, and how it's different, how the little gap between both of them are different with Natasha and with Yelena. How one was more mentally changing somebody to get them to do things, and then this was a chemical to get the new Black Widows to do things. It was nice how they changed that. I thought it was a unique way to kind of play around with making them be part of a same group, and the hell that it was, but also very different at the same time too. I thought that was a unique take on who they were and where they came from.
Yeah,
as far as Black Widow.
And you know, the opening scene was really, really important. It kind of took us back to Civil War, the end of Civil War, where they're just rounding up everybody. It was really nice to see that. The fact that she knew that she had a tracker in her suit and all that stuff. It's just really nice that they kind of, it's got to be hard to write a film and do a film that's like based off of something that's already been shot and done so long ago, and just kind of push that in there and like make sure that you cover the cracks, so to speak, so people won't be like, but this didn't, you know, like, so they they didn't spend too much time on it, but they worked on it. And seeing Black Widow meeting the other widow, her sister, and the interaction they had where they didn't know if they can trust each other because they hadn't seen each other in a long time. So we didn't know. We knew that Natasha defected. Everyone knew that Natasha defected.
Yeah.
She was the first one essentially to really do that. And seeing that in the beginning, you see that Yelena is unfortunately brainwashed, so to speak, controlled at the end of the day. And that scene between her and the doctor, I think her name is Oksana, but I think that's what her name is.
One of the Black Widows that were able to get out.
Older ones, yeah. Yep. Yeah, one of the first ones. Yeah, one of the first ones after Scarlett Johansson's Natasha to leave and then be completely defected, developed a serum to chemically alter your brain to kind of like clear out any fog, so to speak, and it disables that chip a good bit. And that was really important because when she noticed who she was like, "Oh my God!" You know, she snapped back to who she was, and you can hear in the background the other widows calling out for her, and knew that she was defected the moment that she didn't answer after like 3 times. She didn't answer.
They knew that something happened, and she's now essentially on the run. But you know, to go back one step there, when you talk about Easter eggs, That whole beginning scene where she's on the run and she starts talking about, oh yeah, I see you, Thunderbolt. You know, you're General Ross, excuse me. You know, you got a little bit of him there after that second surgery. That's a huge foreshadowing / throwback to who he is in the comic books, because all this stuff starts happening. For those of you who don't know out there, at least in the comic books, he turns into the Red Hulk. He takes the serum, the Hogama, the stuff. So they're seemingly looking like they're leaning really hard into that. Now, whether or not they do, I don't know, because he is getting up there in age. What is it? William Hurt, I believe, is the actor that portrays him. But yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big Easter egg future thinking as far as the MCU goes. But that whole scene with her on the run, where the guy comes down and he goes, yeah, the chip, she, you know, it's there. She's not here. Speaking of knowing where the chip is, how she rips after she's been injected and she's out of the chemical, Yelena, she rips into her, I think it was her right thigh to take out the chip, because it's not in her belt, it's inside of her, of course. That was crazy. That was a very interesting piece to put in there. And then she goes on the run, right? And then where does it go from there?
I mean, she sends the package to Natasha. Natasha meets Mason in her little hideaway trailer out in the middle of nowhere. She has like papers and stuff to kind of like pretty much just disappear for a while. She was changing her identity and everything. That's what Mason is for. He's that guy that gets everything, black market, he can get it type, person. And then, at the end of the day, Taskmaster comes after her because she has the package, and they initiate the Taskmaster program after Yelena defects, and Taskmaster goes out, and it was what a cool scene that was. It was very Terminator-ish, very actually, I find it very funny because in Avengers, the video game, Natasha fights Taskmaster on a bridge.
Oh,
and they did the exact same thing in the movie.
They did.
So I was like, oh, that's funny. That's funny how that happened. But it was a classic fight. It was classic Natasha versus, and the cool thing about it is they really, really, really insinuated the Taskmaster, how Taskmaster copies his people that he's fighting against.
Yes.
How it just takes him a couple seconds to get it, and that's it. During the program initiation, they show that the Taskmaster just watches films on all the Avengers all day, every day. That's all they do. You can upload stuff by putting they have a chip in their head essentially, and it uploads information, and it works simultaneous with the gear that Taskmaster has. And there's even a relationship between Widow and Taskmaster. They kind of show that, like, not a relationship like lovers, but like, well, I guess you could say love, but not love interest. I mean, we don't know. We don't want to put that out there, but it's kind of like
between Natasha and
a person that kind of like is that sisterly figure, because in the beginning she was like smile, in the beginning, because there's no emotion in Taskmaster. Let's put it that way. While that chip is there.
Oh yeah, when one of the widows, whoever that widow is, you also see her at the end too.
It's like the caretaker.
Yeah, like she does something and then smile. Yeah. That person knows who's under the hood, and that person is one of them essentially. It's even though that person has a chip in the back, and it is very a protocol-esque person, it is a person under there, which was quite interesting. Yeah. I see where you're coming from with that one.
And I'm pretty sure maybe they knew each other when they were young. I don't know.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
age-wise, it makes sense. Yeah.
Very well done. I mean, the copying was really cool. How they like paused and looked at each other and did the famous Black Widow fall, like kick back, flip back up and look at it, stare at each other, and like she turned her head, it turned her head. It's pretty cool. It's like looking in the mirror. And you can see the unique fighting styles. You see Hawkeye, you see Captain America, you see Black Panther, of course Black Widow. You also see a little bit of Bucky fight style in there too.
Yeah.
So it was really, really cool how they put all that stuff together. When Florence Pugh and Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, and Yelena meet, or Natasha and Yelena meet, the I don't trust you thing, I don't know if I can trust you thing is pretty cool. It's pretty cool how she knew where to go, and it was obviously a place where they've been before, because Natasha knew exactly where her gun was, and
Yeah, before she moved up.
So either Florence Pugh went to a hideout that Natasha used to have, or they just had a hideout together. Who knows? It wasn't really that important. But they fought each other, and that fight scene was awesome. It was more like, "Can I trust you? Can I trust you?" And it was a stalemate. I mean, granted, I think Natasha won that fight because she had the tighter chokehold. But it was kind of funny how she was like, "Wow, you've grown," like, and then Natasha, and what a good job by Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh putting on a Russian accent, especially in Russian.
Yeah,
that's got to be hard to bounce back and forth, and especially for Scarlett Johansson because she was bouncing back and forth, but Florence Pugh had to hold it the whole goddamn movie. So kudos to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so they're on the run. They're being chased, and they decide to take down the big bad, from Dreykov, who's controlling all the widows, and they go into a whole story about it. And like I said, they go into the story about Natasha's having like PTSD of her blowing up Dreykov because she thought she killed him, and
that was her
and his daughter.
Yeah, they say that was her main objective, or the last piece of the puzzle to join Shield. She had to cut her ties with the Widow organization. Is essentially to, no Hydra pun intended, cut the head off of the dragon to prove herself to them. And in doing so, there was a casualty, which was a foreshadowing piece of the film, which we'll get into a little bit. What they had to take off the head. I think his name was like Dreykov, excuse me.
Yeah.
And in doing so, there was an unfortunate, what they believe was a casualty. But that whole fight scene, how they were always on equal ground essentially the whole time. Yeah. You see every once in a while one getting a little bit of an upper hand on the other, but at the end, they just truce. I forgot who said it. I think Natasha said it. Yeah, but I like how it was definitely the place that they're in, because Natasha knew where the gun was and how to get in, even though she had to pick the locks. She knew where to go, but it was also, as much as it was hers, it was also Yelena's, because there was things in there that Natasha didn't know about. Like when they set off the whole where she set off that whole fire thing, it was literally right next to Natasha, but Yelena did it and she didn't know it. It was, once again, that whole sisterly, I was here first, now I'm here, and I kind of made it my own piece, which was cool. But you get out of there. I think we actually do have to talk about this. This is where she finally sees it, right? Where they knock down that pole pipe, and they go. And the other widow is after them. She falls to the ground, and she's so hurt that chemical either imbalances or something, and she's like, I don't want to do this.
Oh yeah, so that was Ingrid, who's actually in the comics, as one of the not older, but one of the new Widow program. Ingrid, she took a fall. She broke her leg. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, you saw it on screen. Ugh.
But she didn't feel it because, like I said, they're deprived of that. And he initiated Dreykov from his safety of his Sky Village thing that he got going on, or whatever, Sky Fortress. Initiated the determination on her, and that red electric, shock looking stuff is pretty interesting, because, like I say, if you play the Avengers video game, the stick that they use to double the die, I should say, the full, I guess you can call it a bolo staff, but it was they had the red ending. That's what Natasha uses.
Yep.
In Avengers, which is pretty funny, in the Avengers game. So a lot of you can tell, people give Avengers games some slack, but they did their research, man.
They've definitely pulled and grabbed from material out there that is either brand new, something like that, or obviously different pieces of past in the comic books.
So with all that stuff, they're on the run together. They're getting pretty much their original family back together. They need to find Dreykov because they don't know where he's at. That was the last straw for Yelena and Natasha. She was like, unfinished business. She's tired of this stuff and want to take him out. And they kind of agreed to go kill him. And the first person they thought they would know was Alexei.
Good old dad, essentially.
Yeah, good old dad. It was Red Guardian, and he's in jail, and he's doing freaking test of strength over there with
which was really funny.
Yeah,
with a bunch of different inmates, and I like how the one at the end calls him out. He goes, when did this happen? Oh, maybe the 80s or something. Wasn't he under ice still?
Yeah.
And he breaks
his arm. Yeah, arm wrestling competition.
That was a funny scene.
Him, so he was just ruling the area. And then of course Natasha and Yelena go and save him. And it's a very funny scene. There's lots of action. It caused a big avalanche and stuff, and they get him out of there. And then he was like, "I'm not the one you need to be talking to. You need to talk to your mother. Like, she's the one."
Yeah, because they were
still working with him.
Yeah, they originally went after the father first because at the beginning of the film, you clearly saw that Alexei was essentially the number 2, maybe the right hand or left hand man of Dreykov and this program. They assumed, because they haven't seen or heard of him since then, that he was still that, but they come to realize after they grab him, obviously he jokes around, he's not a fan of Dreykov, and he goes, you don't talk to me, you must talk to your mother. And they both kind of have that shocked look, like which was nuts. As much as they've gotten out, or Natasha's gotten out, and she's been doing her thing about that these two are both so separate but also still integral to this guy that Natasha still at this point in the film, which is halfway done, still doesn't believe he's alive. She is so thoroughly against him being alive because of what she did and the ramifications of it.
On top of that, like, no one came after her because she was like, no one came after me. And the sister was like, you really believe that? Like, why come after you when you could just hide, knowing that you have eyes on the world as you being an Avenger and this, that, and the other. So they meet Milena, and they have like Milena's running this program, perfecting the program of controlling the brain through pigs, and she puts that on display and how it works.
That was
and they have dinner. It's kind of like the family's back in. They start having a family argument, which is kind of cute. It was just a family back and forth argument about random stuff, and the dad trying to get in the pants of the mom, and like, it was just really wild. It was really awkward. Like, was.
Yeah. And you see the two sisters, like, part of the family, like, ew, like, no, like, they don't want that. Which was really funny. But even prior to that too, I want to say this is the first time in the films, like, Yelena's like, you don't think they went after you? Like, you're the Avengers. They avenge. We go after you. We're gonna have Captain America. We're gonna have Thor coming after us. Right. Like, why do that? That was actually funny that they went that, like, straightforward with it, because I don't think it's been said in other films before. Like, they've said, that's it, we go after you, y'all are coming after us, so it's stupid for us to come after you. I thought that was funny. But then obviously, the dad trying to get into the pants of the mom, and the whole pig scene, and the sister and the dad finally showing him, like, he was very much like, no, I'm dead, like, this is it, it's whatever. But he's like, I love you girls, when he started singing that song at the beginning of the movie, which was really finally nice to see.
They were going through a fight, and Yelena, it was real to her because she was the youngest one. She didn't know anything. She was like, it was real to me, and it was really sad. It was a really sad scene. But it also throws back to the beginning of the movie. You kind of, how Marvel does their opening credits. They actually showed, like, pictures and film, spliced up of the girls, and how girls were stripped away from their homes, very or found in places where, like, orphanages and stuff, where nobody really cares for them. So they took them away and created the Black Widow program. And they would take pictures to cover up that they weren't, they were just there for a mission. So they would take, like, Christmas. They lived, like, every holiday within a month. And they took pictures and stuff like that and act like all that stuff was around. But to those girls, being a child, it's what you always wanted. It's like everything is put together. So they were kind of like re-emphasizing that we're not a family. Like, Natasha's just like, we're not a family. You weren't there for us. You just shut up. You just put us in this hell. And then Yelena found out that program that the mom's been perfecting and working on was done on her. She was one of the test subjects. And the mom had no idea, because she was like, I had no idea. Like, I thought they were working on animals, essentially. I mean, that's what she thought. You know, she knew it was something that was going to eventually be put into play, but she didn't know it was going to be done on the girls that early, that soon.
When she explained the difference between what Natasha did or had to go through and how I was living this out, but I wasn't really there, and how it hit everybody, and obviously her going through the pain and the crying, you saw how much it affected everyone at that table, well, 4 of them really, because it's a whole different type of ball of manipulation, whatever you want to call it. And the mom's like, obviously I had no idea whether or not she would have been still doing it, who knows, but you saw she was this is where it started, and then she felt the brunt of it at the end, Yelena, compared to what the mom was creating.
Yeah, and I think all that stuff was very important, and the fact that the girl wanted, the really important thing is like Milena was kind of cold-hearted, right? She's kind of like that. She made it very clear that she ran through the program 4 times before Natasha was born. So that woman, if anybody's been through hell, it's been her. Essentially, she was actually the first Black Widow, or first widow, I should say.
Yeah, I don't know.
So she, in the beginning of the film, the little girl tries to grab the photo album. She tells her to leave it.
Yep.
At that point in the film, the photo album's in that house, in the house that Milena has. So obviously, she went back to that location and got that book.
Or she just
that was
put
very
it in that
sentimental
bag,
because that family did mean something to her, even though she acted like it was just a job.
Yeah.
And that's when she confessed. She was like, "I'm sorry," because Natasha was crying, and she's like, "I'm sorry. I contacted them. They'll be here in any minute." And then they had to devise a plan, which, of course, hopefully you've watched this because you've seen. Because we're going to title this spoilers.
Spoilers.
They show up, but they devised a plan where they didn't tell anybody. It was just between Milena and Natasha. And because they had to make it look as real as possible. So Yelena found Natasha on the ground, and Milena was in her Black Widow outfit.
Yep.
Looking all nice. And it was funny because at the beginning, Red Guardian was like, you can't do anything to me, and they shot him with him. He's like, that's it, and then next thing you know, he got hit with every tranquilizer there was. He was out.
Yep.
They took him to the Sky Fortress because the mom infoed in, Natasha and everything. And next thing you know, you're in front of Dreykov, and Milena's there, and it's very interesting. And I'm going to call her Milena for now. How they walked past the Widow training room, and she just stared in there for a second, and she was just like,
yeah,
and then walked off. Yelena was being set up for brain surgery.
This is not the funny way to die, she goes, compared to the other times, which was funny. Yeah.
I love her character so much. It's such a good character.
It is.
Dreykov essentially knew that Milena was actually Natasha and Natasha was Milena. Well, he figured it out. At first, he didn't know because I don't think she would have got that far.
Yeah, I forget what exactly he said. It's like looking into the eyes of something, right?
First, he said, because he's like, she asked what's going to happen to Yelena. He said, we're going to open her head up and find out where things went wrong in her brain.
Yeah.
And when he sat down and looked at her after he said that, I think he said something like, I can tell the eyes of a mother caring for her child or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was definitely had something to do with the eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, I could tell. Yeah, I think he could say, I can tell the eyes of a mother. I think he said something of that line, and he ripped the digital.
Very Mission Impossible-esque.
Yeah, the digital identity, I guess you say, scrambler, and took that off, and then Red Guardian was like, they're in a cell. It's pretty tight cell. I mean, Milena has designed them, and it was like bulletproof and pretty much break proof at the end of the day.
Yep.
And he was in there. He's like, I'm sorry. I love you, girls. You'll always be my baby. And she just opened the door. And he's just like, yeah, like how he falls out. It was really funny.
How did I get out of this? Because he thinks he's talking to Natasha, Black Widow, which obviously he wasn't, because Black Widow and Milena, the mother, switched places. So he was actually down there with who essentially built the security for it. Yeah. Right. So she knows how to get in and out of that place. Very simple. But yeah, the door slides open. He's like, what? It was pretty funny. It was definitely pretty funny.
And then we find out that we find out that Black Widow can't kill Dreykov normally because of a pheromone that he has. His pheromones was chemically placed on these girls to stop them from doing anything to him. But we didn't know. We thought, that was how it is. But Natasha kept, egging him on, and he kept punching her in the face. She was essentially trying to break her nose. Let's be real. So the pheromones wouldn't work. And she knew this pre-hand. We didn't know as viewers, but she knew this pre-hand because her mom did a very good job debriefing.
Yeah.
Everything. And she broke her nose because she just wanted to see the program and how he operated it. So she was playing him for the longest. And then when she found out, she's like, all right, game's over. She broke her freaking nose, punched his ass a couple times. He started being the biggest bitch like I've ever seen. It was like, what's his face from Game of Thrones?
Oh, God. Joffrey?
Joffrey. It's like when he got slapped, he's like, That was the funniest thing ever. The key was his ring, and she figured that out.
So
and,
did they jump the shark there though? Like for me, the pheromone thing made no sense on Natasha because I thought of it as the Black Widows that are there because of the stuff that they're injected with to be brainwashed and how they're brainwashed automatically makes them not or can't attack him.
Well, it was the same for Milena though. She couldn't do it either. Like she made that quite apparent.
It's just something that he sets off in his body that just you can't.
Yeah, like we all
it's
kind of
like
pheromones.
His superpower is if you smell me, you can't attack me.
Well, no.
Like that's what I didn't get.
Yeah, it wasn't a superpower. Pheromones is a natural thing. Like we have pheromones. It's like a natural smell, and he instilled that in all his widows early on. Like that was just a thing that they did early on. Because even Milena couldn't do it unless she broke her nose or whatever. But she said all widows. It doesn't matter. Like all widows at a young age.
It was his. It was
it's like
his.
An instillment. Yeah.
Okay. It was his. It was his fail safe at the beginning of the operation. This had nothing to do with it.
All that stuff is new.
Gotcha.
Yeah, chip stuff is new, but that was old training.
So
I
must
that
have
goes
missed that
all the way
somehow.
back to Scarlett Johansson's. I don't know when it was. One of the introductions to Black Widow, they showed her trainings.
Yes.
As like when I remember she had to take ballet and all kinds of weird stuff. It was like interesting. But anyway, long story short, that happened. She broke her nose. She was able to attack him.
Oh, it was Age of Ultron. I'm sorry, that was Age of Ultron, where Scarlet Witch gets into her mind and she starts seeing the Red Room and everything.
Yeah. So all of that got reversed. He put an emergency program into play. All the widows came, and Tasha did a pretty good job holding herself off, and then she got beat up, and then our lovely Yelena saves the day. There's a cute scene where Yelena was talking about her entrance. She's like, "Why you got an entrance all the time like that? And you gotta spread your legs with your head down to your hair like
flip.
this."
The hair flip.
Yeah, it was really funny. She's like, you're a poser. It's such a poser." And she's like, "I'm not a poser. It's not what I do." They're going back and forth as sisters, and then she ends up doing it. And
she nails it
hilarious.
too. She nails it too.
Yeah, but nails it. And that was an actual scene that she did too. I've seen like the behind the scenes.
Oh,
that was in the stunt double. Was her? It was on. She was like she had a cord on her, like a cable on her, but still. But the way she did like that, it was so good. It was such a good thing.
So dirty. It was so perfect.
Yeah, just like oh god, it was so gross, And it was just it's so awesome. But it's so cool because, like I said, Marvel always puts in little tidbits that lead you down the road. So long story short, they blow up the fortress, and we think we're getting a death scene with Elena because she's like going at the cool way to die again, and she kept saying that. And she like did the stick in the engine and blew up the goddamn thing. She just got flopped off. Natasha saves her sister. We have Taskmaster as well. Taskmaster reveal. I'll leave that for you guys. I'm not gonna say anything. And if you haven't seen it, or if you're watching this, you don't care about spoilers, but Taskmaster is not who we thought it was.
Yeah, I didn't expect. I mean, when you watch the film, you kind of get it at the beginning, right? But I had no idea going into it that's who it was going to be.
Honestly, that bridge scene, I said, this is kind of female. Like I kept saying to myself, because the way they would walk and like, I was like, it's kind of feminine. And I just kept it to myself, I didn't tell my wife, and I just kind of kept it to myself. And then when they kept bringing her up, I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be our Taskmaster. Like, they just kept bringing her up too much. Like, she's not that important, you know. Sky obviously doesn't give a crap about kids.
Yep.
You know, like, so they save her. You know, Natasha goes and save her, and Natasha's heart, man, is just growing and growing and growing. Like Avengers has given her a heart.
Yep.
And I think they make a reference in you're still cold. Your heart is still cold. I don't know if that was to Milena or Natasha, but it was one of them. That was a line that was said, but it was kind of like the contrast. And at the end, they win. They even free a bunch of the widows.
You also got to see really how strong Natasha was. I mean, she was going up against about like 15 widows, and she was holding her own for a long time too. I mean, obviously, towards the end, until Yelena came in and kind of saved the day, she was holding her own though, which was quite interesting to see. I mean, we knew that she was the Black Widow for a reason, but
I think it was experience.
But
like she was older than those girls.
Yeah,
you know.
She's also been fighting alongside of all these other people as well.
And she's fought like aliens and monsters and like, I mean, you know, that's got to count for something. Those girls just been in training all their damn lives, you know, and taking out people assassination wise from a distance, so to speak. But yeah, she ended the program, and now those group of widows have to go out and defect all the other girls, which technically, it still has to happen. They just won't be controlled. They still have to be defected. So they're gonna duplicate. Milena, the mom, is a biochemist.
She's a smart person,
and gonna probably replicate all those the program, I mean the formula.
Yep.
And create more, and then defect all these girls and just stop the Red Room Black. Hopefully, you know, you don't really know what Milena's really thinking at the end of the day. We just don't know. Maybe she's gonna go around and do her own thing. Who knows?
Are we gonna? Are we gonna talk about the end credit scene?
Yeah.
Okay, because then I got a question. So we're almost at the end credit scene, but go ahead, because it actually has to do with what you just said.
They split up, they go their separate ways, and you know, Natasha turns herself in essentially or whatever, and we all know what happens there.
The jacket.
She changes at the end. She changes her hair. She meets Mason. She gets the jet back.
Yep. But we'd have to talk about the vest too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the vest. Yeah, that's
a big thing. That was actually pretty big. Yeah.
Zelena has a vest, and she made it. She said, "This is the first thing I ever bought for myself."
Yep.
You know, it's very sentimental to her, and she loves it because it has a lot of pockets. She's just being a kid. Being a kid again. And she gave the vest to Natasha, and Natasha wears it in Endgame. You know, Endgame. I don't think she wears it in Infinity War.
Yeah, because I think she does, because
before before and after the blip. I think she did it after the blip when Steve Rogers came and visited her, and she was eating whatever her lovely peanut butter out of the actual jug or container.
But it was a cool throwback how they tied those two together, and it shows how far that they were planning these things once again too, which is wild.
Or they didn't plan it. And they were like, oh,
they just made it.
You know, we add this in here as a sentiment or whatever. However they do it, the connections, the people that connect stuff together in Marvel Studios is brilliant. But yes, so she goes off and they set up the scene where she goes and saves them from, you know, saves Steve, not really Steve Rogers, but an Anthony Mackie, the Falcon, and Hawkeye goes and saves them. In credit scenes, credits co-roll, and it was very sentimental. In credit scenes, we end up with Florence Pugh taking her dog. She always wanted a dog, so that was there. Taking her dog to the gravesite of Natasha, which is sad.
Yep.
But we know Natasha's body's not in there.
True.
We know that for sure.
We know that that's an empty grave because we know how she went out, unfortunately. Or fortunately.
So what's happening is
it was very emotional. She did the
she did a whistle,
the whistle thing,
sister thing, and she kind of like very much loves on the gravestone, and because she loves her sister, she really does, and we got that in a very hardcore manner throughout the whole story. This is when we start seeing a very sentimental, like emotional Yelena, who essentially becomes the new Black Widow, if you want to so say, or White Widow, however you want to put it.
Yeah, what are we gonna call her? I don't know.
We'll see. But she's recruited. the freaking Valentina, the woman, Miss Hydra herself, is going around recruiting people.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Miss Valentina, which we've only seen before in Captain America, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Captain America and Winter Soldier. I still don't know what to call it. When they recruit, obviously, what do they call him? It's not Captain America, but he's U.S. agent. Excuse me. But the interesting part of that is
Valentina.
Yeah, the interesting part of that is, though, they already know each other. Like, why she's like
been under her employment.
Yeah, so like you bring up, did she defect the Black Widows, or did they go to under her control now? That is a very interesting piece to the pie.
I don't know about going under control. I don't think Elena would let that happen. But I do feel that there's going to be a counter Avengers that they're putting together. Like Hydra's putting together their own Avengers. I don't know if it's safe to say Hydra yet for those that probably hasn't seen, but I mean she is Miss Hydra in the comic books.
Yeah.
But they're putting together a team to counter the Avengers. And to get Yelena on board, and to get Yelena on board to do that, because Yelena already made it very clear that she's not going to F with the Avengers. I mean, she's like, they're the Avengers, you know? But she twisted this very manipulative woman, showed a picture. She said, she said, I have a mission for you. She was like, I told you don't bother me on my off time.
Yeah.
And
I think this would pique your interest or something like that.
She showed Clint.
She says it.
This is how would you like to go after the person that killed your sister?
Yeah.
Without knowing any details, because obviously don't know the details of what happened. So we're probably going to see her in Hawkeye. Just simple as that.
Yeah.
Probably going to see her in Hawkeye.
She's going to probably be she's probably going to be the big bad, not the big bad, but a bad in Hawkeye. But that's also,
and then probably join forces.
But you know what's cool? Knowing that she's going to be in it, you have a young female in her of the White Widow, Black Widow, and you also have Kate Bishop. So was it Haley Steinfeld? So you have two young females that are probably going to go after each other, which is going to be wild. It's really cool.
Her first test.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool to see that. Now, whether she's going to stick with Madam Hydra, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, or is she going to switch over and go the Avenger route and really take on the mental and be with Clinton? Because he's probably going to explain to her what happened. At some point, is that going to change the way that she moves forward? Who knows? But that's the reason why I want to bring that up before, because once again with Loki and now with this movie, they're putting the pieces out there for what the future could potentially be or will be for the Marvel universe, and seeing her go into the bad route or the moral gray route with having that relationship with her after the events of the Black Widow movie, Yelena go that route and not just be pure good is interesting, but she's living her life now. So it's hard to falter.
She's because I mean eventually Yelena becomes Black Widow.
Yep.
Simultaneously, they're just gonna go straight to it. And she joins forces later on. There's multiple stories with Yelena, and actually Yelena is a little worse than Natasha when it comes to it. At the end of the day, she doesn't give a shit. Like if the mission says kill, she kills. She doesn't think about it because she hasn't been out of defection that long. So she's kind of still dealing with what she's trained with. I mean, she does have feelings, obviously, but it's more so family over anything else to her. And unfortunately, that's bad news for Clint. So there's
that is true. That is true. But you know what's interesting? In the movie, they did bring up, Natasha did bring up Clint's name more than once. When they hid from Taskmaster, we were hid up here for a couple of days. You see the tic-tac-toe. And she did bring up Budapest, for 10 days. We had to hide out as well. So she did get a little bit of a briefing to Natasha and Clint's relationship. Now, it all depends on how Clint relays that relationship to Yelena once they eventually meet up, which could make her go in one way or another. But right now, she sees Clint as, regardless of what Natasha said, the relationship that she's built now over times with Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character, Madame Hydra's character, that this is the person that killed your sister. So it's going to be bonkers. I do like how we're going to get a grounded, I think, Hawkeye series, and it's going to be a little bit more of that Captain America and Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier storytelling and maybe fighting. It kind of almost as a semi-palate cleanser to how crazy and off the wall Loki was and how crazy and off the wall WandaVision was. You got crazy, like grounded, crazy, and then grounded. And then you're going to go back to crazy with Miss Marvel after that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we got What If. Never mind. You're still going to have crazy next. I'm sorry.
But
I'm sorry.
This is also going to be, Secret Avengers. I think that's what they're going to call the Hydra side of things soon.
We keep on forgetting, we do have that they announced that they're creating a Thunderbolts series. Now, is Madam Hydra Julia Louis-Dreyfus? I can't remember if she's brought up Thunderbolt Ross's name before. But I wonder if she's tied to them and they're utilizing that to branch into it. That they're actually not using her as a Madam Hydra, but using her as a secret agent almost for Ross.
I don't know. I think that'd be really weird if she's not Madam Hydra. Yeah, I think that'd be really weird. But who knows? It's the MCU, so they could do whatever they want.
Hydra's the big bad. It's kind of still strange to think that they're not there anymore. Seemingly after, what was it? After Civil War, were they essentially gone? Or was it Ultron? No. I don't know. One of those movies we seemingly thought that they got nixed, but it's hard to believe that Hydra's gone at this point. So I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm kind of happy that I'm not happy. I was kind of emotional. I wasn't boohooing or nothing. I was kind of emotional that Black Widow's done. Like our Black Widow is done. And
yeah.
I'm not sad that Florence is taking over because she's awesome, but Scarlett Johansson being no longer Black Widow that's huge for me, man. Like, she's Black. She did a very good job, and she's Black Widow. I can't see anybody else doing that role. So they're not going to but I was a little afraid. I was like, are they going to? Because there's a series like Yelena's in Demise. She meets in the comics is because they cloned Natasha, the perfect agent, and had full control over her, and that's who killed Yelena. And at the end of the day was her sister, which was really kind of effed up. But they're not going to revisit that obviously in the MCU because Scarlett Johansson says she's done as Black Widow, but she's not done with the MCU. There was a interview done with her recently after, like, because they go on tour and do the question Q&As for the movie. And she said she would love to work with Marvel in any capacity, she just wants to hang up the Black Widow because she feel like she's done. She's kind of done with that legacy. Scarlett Johansson just recently had a baby.
Yes, she did.
Is pregnant. Is she pregnant?
She's either pregnant or just. I know Sophia Loki she just had the baby. Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, I think she's pregnant. I think she's pregnant now. With her new husband, a freshly new husband.
July they announced pregnancy.
Yeah, that's a fresh new hunter. I think she got with this husband in 2020 or something like that. It was very fast. She's had like 3 husbands within the span of 3-4 years. So they have a baby coming, and hopefully this marriage works out for her. Being a celebrity and dating either a celebrity or a non-celebrity is even just as hard, or just even being married. But anyway, I think it's more so it could be she's 36, so she probably wants to like spend some time with her, like raising her kids. These films take years to make, and I can see her going that. But Kevin Feige said that there's no way that they're ending their relationship with Scarlett Johansson. They love working with her, and she loves working with them. It was very mutual, and you will see her. She said she will be back, but not as Black Widow.
So now, do you see that as I'll be back as like an actor on screen, or I'll be back as like a producer, or writer, or director, or something like that, or a little bit of both?
My thing is as long as she's there is good.
Okay.
I love having veterans put their touches. She was a producer for Black Widow.
Yes.
So she did a fantastic job. So I'm very interested in seeing where she goes with it. And seeing that this Marvel Studios is becoming a generational thing is fantastic. It's like seeing the original Avengers becoming producers and directors and camera controlling cams and stuff like that, and training and helping the new birds take over. That's dope to me. I think that's so sweet, because I mean, we all get older. I mean, they've been doing that thing for like 12, some of them 12 years. So it's very interesting to see that, and I'm very happy with it. And Marvel's doing really well. TV series is kicking ass. Movies are kicking butt. But yeah, if you've seen Black Widow and you want to see more Easter eggs, watch it again. There's tons of Easter eggs in there, and
always
mark my word, a lot of things that you've seen in there will come up later on. Maybe even sooner than we think. So next thing we got is What If. That's the thing that's coming. And we just finished with Loki finale. If you want to know more, please watch episode 11, 12 of Comics, a recent episode as of
it was episode 11. This would technically be episode 12 depending when this comes out, but this would technically be episode
July
12.
17th.
July 17th today. Smile.
Today. Watch that podcast on twitch.tv/raredrop, or catch the YouTube or the podcast on Spotify and other sources that we place out. But I think that's good. We did more than we expected. We did almost a whole hour worth of talking, so that's good. And so my name is Technique.
My name is Nighthawk. I mean, we're in for a wild ride, Frank. I know we just came up fresh out of Loki, but with What If, you look at the calendar. The only thing on the calendar right now is Marvel movies and a couple of DCs here. So
we have Shang-Chi.
We have What If. We have Shang-Chi. We have a bunch of things coming up over the next few months. So, and eventually it is official. Loki season 2. Sorry, we didn't say that on our show earlier. It was 100% official. So,
and What If season 2.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, I saw that one. We talked about that one.
I think we might even see Red. I think we might see Red Hulk. I think that might even be a thing. In the near future.
Oh God, yeah, they're filming She-Hulk. They're almost done with filming She-Hulk, so that's going to be coming out next year most likely. But yeah. I know we're trying to wrap this up. I'm sorry, I could keep on talking to Frank forever. I know we're trying to wrap this up. I could just keep on talking with Frank forever about all this stuff. So, like Frank said, you can check him out on Twitch, on Twitter. We're constantly up on there talking and chatting. We always talk about comic books on stream. Same thing with me, Matt, aka Nighthawk Plays. You can check us out whenever you want daily. But until we see you next time, which will either be next week, the following week, or the week after, we'll see you soon, boys and girls.
Just keep an eye out on our announcements and stuff. I mean, you'll definitely see us within 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Live. After 2 weeks. I just got some stuff to do, or you might see people. You might see them earlier. I don't know, but we'll be around and we'll make announcements. Just keep your eye out, and we appreciate the support and help, and with all that you do. So you guys enjoy the episodes and enjoy all your homework, which is get ready for What If and Titan season 3.
That's your homework, season 1 and 2.
Yeah, my homework is all of them.
All of them.
Gotta do all of them.
So until we see you later.
See you later on the mix. Thanks very much. Peace out.
Bye.